How's everybody doing this morning? It is Tuesday. It's actually pretty decent, a little chilly. I think it's like 20s, high 20s maybe. Overall, not bad. Today we are going to be putting in a small driveway, and first thing first, we gotta go get some supplies. I've gotta go pick up some geotextile and some metal stakes, and then we're gonna come back to the farm, grab the truck, the skid, and head on down to our project and get started. So finally got the Tandem done. It's been in the shop for the last couple, probably about the last 10 days or so, getting everything fixed on it. Had a transmission issue and the continued hard start issue, so hopefully those are both resolved and we'll be good to go. Alright, so I just found out that our local plumbing supply store actually carries this geotextile fabric, and luckily it is a lot closer and it's actually a little bit cheaper than where I've been buying it, so that is a plus. Learned something new today. Alright, we got our geotextile, we got our metal stakes. We're gonna warm up the hook lift truck, warm up the skid loader, then we're going to grab the Harley Rake, load everything up in the hook lift truck, and head on down. So first thing we're gonna do is kind of get the area prepped. The area that we're putting in this driveway really isn't too bad, and actually the owner, the homeowner there, has been using it as a drive for some time. It's just dirt and it's muddy and it's sloppy, so we're gonna get it all kind of cleaned up first, leveled out before we put the geo down, and then we'll put the oversized down, and then we'll top it off with asphalt milling. So go ahead and get everything warmed up, ready to load up, and then we'll make our way down there. So here is today's project. We are building a driveway right here where I'm walking. It's going to connect up to existing little driveway he's got coming around the side of that building. And so what we're going to do is end up putting down a layer of geotextile, the 12.5 foot wide. We're going to put oversized over top of that and then top it all off with asphalt milling. So we're going to do our very best to grade this out prior to get it all leveled up, so when we start putting down our fabric and rock, it's a nice smooth surface. So this driveway is what I would consider a fairly light duty application, as far as, you know, on occasion he might have his pickup truck, his garden tractor and stuff, but this thing isn't going to be carrying semis every single day. So you might ask yourself, why the geotextile? Well, if you guys look across here, you can see that this is a natural low area in between his property and the neighbor's property, so inevitably water comes down this section. This area, I've been out here before during the summertime and even fall when it is generally very dry out. This area always is just a little damp, and so the reason why I want to put that geo down is so over time we can limit the amount of mud that's mixed in with all the base rock and the asphalt milling. So probably a little bit of overkill in this application, or generally would be a little bit of overkill for something like this, but given the conditions and the drainage area here, I think it's going to be a good idea. So cheap insurance policy. Geo's pretty inexpensive in the grand scheme of things, so it's a lot cheaper than having to go back and redo a driveway at some point. So we'll go ahead, first thing, get that geo rolled out. Rock is hopefully on its way here shortly, and then we'll get started on spreading some rock. So this spot right here is another portion of this customer's driveway, and he had some road packed down on this particular spot, and what was happening was there was a lot of sediment and
sand, I guess, if you want to call it that, that was making its way into his garage from the cars when they drove over this portion. So what he wanted to do was dig down a couple of inches and top off this area with some asphalt millings. Unfortunately, when we went to go start digging this out, not only was it hard packed because of it being the road pack that's been on there for a couple of years and packed in there with the vehicles, it also had about an inch of frost on the top, so it was pretty much hard as a rock. And so we were kind of trying to figure out how we were going to get this dug down. Then I remembered that we could just take the Harley Rake and grind down a couple of inches with it, and then just scoop up the rest. So that's exactly what we did. Worked like a charm. I just had to go kind of slow. Like I said, it was pretty hard packed, so Harley Rake had to sit in there and grind kind of slow on that, but it got it done. Turned out really well.
All right, so we got this area halfway prepped. This is gonna be underneath the the oversized, and the asphalt millings, so it definitely doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat here. I just mainly wanted to fill in. There's a little washout here in a couple spots. Just kind of wanted to touch it up right before we started laying down the fabric. So we're basically just going to start up at the top. I'm going to roll out maybe 50 feet or so, and then I'll probably just end up holding off. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the stakes in the ground to hold this stuff in. Unfortunately, we got some frost on the ground right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to get those stakes in. So I'll probably just do a little section at a time and just keep working my way forward. So start up there, and we'll just unroll 30, 40, 50 feet, spread some oversized, and roll another 34, 50 feet, and work our way down there to that corner, and then see where we're at with material. All right, so we got a little bit fabric laid out here, waiting on the rock to show up. We'll start spreading some up here, roll some out, spread some more, roll some more out. First load of rock is here.
So we're getting this base rock thrown in here, and what this is recycled concrete. It's like a 1x3 material. Super good material for base rock, and it spreads pretty good. The unfortunate part is that base rock in general just is really difficult to spread on absolutely perfectly. When you go to push it, grade it, it has a tendency to want to move in several inch layers at a time. It doesn't like to just grade out an inch or so lower, obviously, just because of the nature of the size of that material. It's not like a road pack or even the asphalt millings or anything. So I've found the best way to actually spread this material is to do a lot of back dragging. That evens it out. I'm not a huge fan of back dragging material. I think it's more time consuming. I think you can do a better job, grading it straightforward. However, with base rock, I've found that that's probably the easiest thing to do if you're trying to put down about a 6 inch or 8 inch layer at a time.
All right, second load. Alright, so everything is progressing nicely here. We've got 40 tons, right about 40 tons of oversized laid down here. Probably about 46 inches deep. And it's gonna make a nice base. Everything's leveled out. Got the edges raked nice and clean. I think I hear our tandem pulling up with our asphalt millings. So we will get started moving those. We've also got a little bit of rock up top by that other garage where we first started Harley raking. Oh, nope, not the tandem, it's garbage man. We'll start moving that rock up by the garage that we first Harley raked. Get that hauled down here and start topping off some of this oversized. All right, we are making progress. We've got probably about 30-ish, maybe just shy of 30 tons of millings down right now. So kind of how I do these single lane driveways is I'll kind of just throw a bucket width right down the middle, pretty thick, and then what I'll do is I'll come back with the Harley rake and start fanning it out to the edges. So I'm plenty thick here in the center. I'm every bit of probably 6 or 8 inches thick right here in the center. So as I run the Harley rake down the center of this thing, I'll end up pushing it to the side and it evens it out really nice. So we've got 2 more loads coming. There's the tandem actually coming back with the 3rd load right now. We'll get that spread out on the on this section right here, and then we've got just a small section up where we first started Harley raking. Got that dug out. We're gonna spread some millings up there, and that'll be that for this. So moving along. So we have got pretty much all the millings in here. I've got a pretty thick layer down. So what I'm gonna do now is just run the Harley rake right down the center of this, and we're just gonna keep going back and forth and kind of windrowing it a little bit towards the edges, and I'll really level out those edges or level this out and push some of these millings out to the edges, covered up nice and perfectly. I think it'll look really nice when it's done. We got to be careful not to go too deep with that Harley rake or have the millings too shallow, because we don't want to get into that oversized. That kind of makes a mess. So we'll get started on that. Coming together. We got the last load coming, and I think we're gonna have all the millings that we need for right now. So let's get to Harley raking.
So when I start running this Harley rake, you can see I've got material in front of me that just keeps rolling forward, and that drum keeps pulling it up and pushing it forward with me. And what that does is evens out any low areas, cuts down the high spots. But most of all, I just keep on fanning that material out to the sides. There's two little wings on the front of this Harley Rake that are angled out a little bit, and what that does is that material falls out outside. So every pass I might move over 3 or 4 inches with that material as I'm pushing it forward. So just a super useful tool when doing a project like this. I've actually become quite I don't want to call it lazy, but I spend a lot less time with the bucket trying to get it perfect, as long as I have the Harley Rake with me, because I can just make such quick time with it with the Harley Rake. So when I go to throw some material in here like this, I really just toss it in fairly quick, and then I'll touch it up with the Harley Rake, and it takes a lot less time and turns out really, really good.
Yes, I'll come
The millings are pretty dang close. There's just a couple of spots right here along the edges where I could probably throw a little bit more. But overall, I leveled out really, really nice. Everything's got a perfect flat surface to it. Covered up pretty much all the oversized here. Nice wide driveway. So this thing turned out great. So he's got a little burn pile down here he's going to be able to get down to now with his truck or his garden tractor, and then at some point you can see that roll of geotextile down there. He wants to turn that driveway 90 degrees and head back to the north, so that'll be a project for another time, but kind of setting it up and getting it ready to go on for phase 2 of this. So looks really good. Got one more load of millings to spread up there around the house, around that driveway where we first Harley raked, and then any of the extra stuff I'm just gonna throw down here along the edges a couple spots, and I might even start to make this corner and turn up the other way. So turned out great. It's looking good. Got this tossed in here real quick. Gonna grade it out with the Harley rake. That'll be about it. We're wrapping up. Home stretch. Alright, this is done. This is done. Also looking good. Machine loaded. Also looking good. Last but not least, myself, had to skip lunch today. I too am done. Not necessarily good looking, but I am done. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed.